Let's begin with the foundations. Welcome to another lecture. Today we consider Wyndham Robert Clark, an American professional golfer whose career you see is a compact case study in resilience, skill acquisition, and the psychology of high performance. I am Alexei. I promise golf will be more mathematical than you expect, though we shall not ask you to integrate by parts on a par 5.
Hi, I'm Priyanka. I'm curious about how small decisions change big careers. Also, I promise to keep the questions short and the curiosity long.
To frame our discussion in simpler terms, Wyndham Clark is a top American golfer on the PGA Tour who, after early struggles, won multiple times, including 2 US Opens, first in June 2023 at Los Angeles Country Club, and again in June 2026 at Shinnecock Hills. The latter a wire-to-wire victory, meaning he led after every round. In technical terms, the PGA Tour is the primary men's professional tour in the United States. The US Open is one of golf's 4 majors, organized by the USGA, deliberately difficult and arguably a stress test of control. The official World Golf Ranking, or OWGR, is a points-based global ranking over a rolling period, weighing field strength and finish position. A wire-to-wire winner, as noted, leads after each completed round, statistically rare under major championship pressure.
So, basically, these aren't just trophies. They are signals in a dataset. Wins at the US Open say you can handle the harshest variance in conditions, right?
Exactly. Moving forward, why should we care? Modern relevance first. Clark's trajectory underscores that late acceleration is possible, even after a ranking nadir. He fell to 268th in March 2022 and rose to a career high of 3rd by April 2024. The mechanism, by his own account, included mental coaching begun in November 2022 with Julie Elian. This is fundamentally applied cognitive science in sport.
And historically, the mental side wasn't always foregrounded. We used to talk mostly about swing mechanics and maybe putting strokes. Now it's routines, reframing, attentional control. Isn't it interesting how that shift changes who can succeed and when?
Let's start with the history. Clark was born December 1993 in Denver, Colorado, the middle child in a competitive household. His mother, Lise, introduced him to golf at age 3, and his father, Randall, imposed motivational constraints, famously withholding a PlayStation until he made an eagle. He complied rather emphatically at 6 years old, making a hole-in-one with a driver on a par 3 at Keystone Ranch. It is, if you will, a very efficient form of compliance. He grew up around Cherry Hills Country Club, won the Colorado Stroke Play at 16, took 2 state high school titles at Valor Christian, where he overlapped with Christian McCaffrey by 2 academic years. He began college golf at Oklahoma State, then tragedy. His mother died of breast cancer in 2013. Counseling and a red shirt followed. Coaches remember a talented but self-critical player searching for equilibrium. In 2016, he transferred to Oregon, where Casey Martin emphasized Clark's length and short game. In 2017, he won the Pac-12, collected multiple titles, became Pac-12 Player of the Year, and helped Oregon to the NCAA final.
So yeah, moving on from college to the pros. He earned status on the Web.com Tour, then got promoted to the PGA Tour for 2018 to 2019. Early on, there were near misses, like leading the 2019 Honda Classic through 54 holes and a playoff loss in Bermuda in 2020. By March 2022, he was down to 268th in the world, which is a long way from the highlight reel that comes next.
Then the inflection point. In November 2022, he began working with Julie Elian. In May 2023, he won the Wells Fargo. In June 2023, he captured the US Open at Los Angeles Country Club. In August, he finished third at the Tour Championship and earned a Ryder Cup spot that autumn. February 2024 brought a course record 60 at Pebble Beach and the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am win. In March 2024, he was runner-up at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and tied second at the Players. And by April, he reached OWGR number 3. The arc is nonlinear. In 2025, form became volatile. A missed cut at the US Open at Oakmont, an incident damaging a locker, and a subsequent conditional ban from the club, a public apology, and candid interviews about spiraling mentally and missing the Ryder Cup. Then 2026 restored the upward curve. A split with longtime caddy John Ellis in March. In May, a 30-under par victory at the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, with a closing 60. And in June, the US Open at Shinnecock, won wire to wire, one ahead of Sam Burns, having led by 6 through 54 holes. Before we get to the complexities, a personal note. I study how people learn under pressure. In chess, a single impulsive move can undo an hour of precision. In golf, one swing can feel similar. Clark's story, anger managed, then mismanaged at Oakmont, then owned and redirected, reminds us that growth is rarely monotone. This brings us to our 3 questions. Question 1, historical. How did Clark overcome early career struggles? We observe several inputs. Family scaffolding and early exposure at Cherry Hills built skill. College adversity forced psychological reframing. The transfer to Oregon matched environment to strengths, with Casey Martin calling him freakishly long and praising the short game. Professionally, the pivotal change is the November 2022 engagement with a mental coach. Thereafter, the variance in outcomes narrows upward. First tour win in May 2023, first major in June. It is crucial to understand that the physical tools pre-existed. The mental structure appears to have coordinated them reliably under stress.
I'm curious about how to separate what the mind changed from what the swing changed. Like, if I'm not calmer, my tempo changes. So which lever really moved the needle for him?
In this context, the mind-body decomposition is artificial. Nevertheless, we can infer proximate effects. Mental coaching plausibly improved attentional control and emotional regulation in high-leverage moments. That stabilizes decision quality and commitment to shots. The evidence is circumstantial but persuasive. Within months, he closed out a designated event field at Wells Fargo and converted shared leadership into a US Open victory at LACC. To elaborate, the same swing under quieter cognition tends to produce better contact. The signal is the timing of results after the coaching began. Question 2, counterfactual. What if Clark's putt at the Players in March 2024 had dropped to force a playoff with Scottie Scheffler? The Players is an elite signal in the data set. Winning it often reweights OWGR, sponsorship, and self-schema. Had the putt fallen, and had he then won the playoff, note the branching probability tree, we might expect incremental OWGR points, a reinforced sense of belonging at the very top, and perhaps altered selection narratives later in 2024 and 2025. But note, he already reached OWGR number 3 in April 2024 without that putt. The divergence might lie more in psychological momentum than in ranking arithmetic.
Can we maybe now look at 2025 through that lens? If he had a player's title in the bank, would the Oakmont frustration have softened? Or do slumps come anyway because humans adapt to new baselines and want more?
Arguably both. In behavioral terms, the hedonic baseline recenters quickly. Victories inoculate against doubt only partially. A player's win might have served as a psychological buffer, perhaps reducing the magnitude of the 2025 spiral he himself described. Yet the antecedents of that year, swing form, scheduling, life stressors, could still have produced volatility. Counterfactuals clarify mechanisms, not certainties. In conclusion, the lip out is emblematic of golf's margins. Whether it averts the Oakmont episode is possible but not provable. Question 3. Present-day unknowns. What are Clark's ongoing challenges? First, consistency across majors. His US Open record is stellar since 2023. Elsewhere, the pattern is episodic. Masters results improved from a missed cut in 2024 to T21 in 2026. The Open surged to T4 in 2025. The PGA Championship remains inconsistent. Second, team dynamics. He split with longtime caddy John Ellis in March 2026, and then won the Byron Nelson in May and the US Open in June. Such changes can reset communication, yardage trust, and strategy. Third, reputation management and emotional sustainability after Oakmont. He apologized and accepted conditions. Maintaining composure under scrutiny is an ongoing variable.
Building on that, looking at future potential, could he add the Masters or the Players to balance the resume? His profile, power and short game, seems portable, but Augusta can be, picky about experience curves.
Clearly, the toolkit travels. Casey Martin's observation, length plus short game quality, maps to both demanding setups and low-scoring venues. In 2026, he demonstrated both a 30-under shootout and a wire-to-wire US Open. The Open research questions are psychological. How to preserve attentional bandwidth through full seasons. How to metabolize public episodes into durable maturity. How to build micro-routines that survive stress. We might also study the caddy-player communication bandwidth as a predictor of Sunday performance. In simpler terms, can he keep doing what works when it matters most?
I often think about how early stories echo later choices. The PlayStation Eagle, the mother's influence, the counseling after grief. Those patterns of making goals and seeking help reappear, right? Maybe that's his durable edge.
Well said. The through line is agency under difficulty. Set a target, accept guidance, recalibrate. Mathematically, the variance narrows as the process stabilizes. Biographically, the person matures. To summarize, Wyndham Clark's journey runs from Denver prodigy to collegiate turbulence to professional ascent. 2 US Opens, a course record 60 at Pebble Beach, and a 30-under aggregate at the Byron Nelson punctuate the record. We asked how he overcame early struggles by aligning environment and mental approach. We asked the counterfactual about the player's putt, illuminating golf's small margins. And we asked about ongoing challenges, consistency across majors, team dynamics, and emotional sustainability.
Maybe that's something we can come back to later. The mind in sport is still underdescribed. If listeners want a next step, read up on attentional control, pressure adaptation, and how ranking points translate to scheduling choices. It's all connected.
This then completes our present analysis. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, and see you next time.